A Yakuza boss stares coldly at his men and tells them they've failed him. And in his world, failure doesn't come with second chances. It comes with sacrifice. To prove their loyalty, he gives them one final opportunity at redemption. Cut off a finger. Without hesitation, 2 of them obey. But the third refuses, and in a single brutal moment, the boss makes an example of him, beheading him on the spot. Then, as blood still stains the floor, he hands the remaining 2 a check and sends them on a mission. Their destination? A tiny frozen town called Normal, Minnesota. 3 weeks later, we meet Ulysses, a temporary sheriff assigned to this strange little town for just 8 weeks. At first glance, Normal looks exactly like what its name promises. Peaceful streets, friendly faces, the kind of small town where nothing bad is supposed to happen. Outside his cheap motel, Ulysses is greeted by his first deputy, Mike, who casually asks how the place is treating him. Ulysses glances back at the rundown building and says it's exactly what he expected for $55 a night. Mike asks if he managed to eat. Ulysses says he ordered Chinese delivery, and together, they drive into town. Everything seems harmless. The people are warm, the streets are quiet, and everyone acts like this is the perfect little paradise. But almost immediately, something feels off. The previous sheriff was found dead just days earlier, frozen solid outside in the middle of the night, wearing nothing but his underwear, clutching fishing gear, and somehow, everyone treats it like that's completely normal. When Ulysses reaches the station, he meets John, cleaning a bike. John jokes that he wishes his girlfriend was that dirty, then asks if Ulysses has one. Ulysses dryly replies that he only has a wife. Inside, there's already trouble. A furious man named Tom is arguing with one of the deputies. Ulysses steps in and asks what's going on. Tom sneers at him and demands to know who he is. Ulysses checks his badge and calmly replies, "If I'm reading this right, I'm the sheriff." Tom snaps back that he sure as hell didn't vote for him. The office clerk, Kate, explains that Ulysses is only filling in after Sheriff Gunderson's sudden death. Tom complains that his neighbor has parked a tow truck on his property. Ulysses promises to look into it. Then comes Deputy Blaine Anderson, a smug local politician in uniform who makes it very clear he's running for permanent sheriff in 6 weeks. He reminds Ulysses, with a forced smile, to keep the badge warm. Almost immediately, Ulysses discovers something bizarre. Hidden in the station armory is over $200,000 worth of anti-terrorism gear, military-grade weapons, and enough C4 explosives to level half the town. When he asks why a sleepy little place like Normal needs all this, Kate explains that after September 11th, Sheriff Gunderson applied for every anti-terrorism grant he could get. When Ulysses asks how much training they actually received to use any of it, Kate suddenly goes quiet and changes the subject. That's when Ulysses knows something is deeply wrong here. The next morning, he's jolted awake by a loud crash outside his motel. He grabs his gun, rushes out half-dressed, only to find a moose casually wandering through the parking lot. He snaps a picture and heads out. Nearby, Deputy Blaine is having a heated argument with a woman beside a parked van. When Ulysses asks who she is, someone tells him, that's Alex, the dead sheriff's daughter, and she's living in her car. The mayor didn't even allow her at her own father's memorial, calling her a distraction. Later that night, Ulysses finds her parked on a snow-covered roadside, drinking bourbon straight from the bottle. And what she tells him cuts through all the town's fake warmth. This place used to know right from wrong before Mayor Kibner got here. She says her father knew something was wrong. He was caught between his daughter and the town, and when he finally had to choose, it killed him. Trying to clear his head, Ulysses drifts into the local bar run by Moira, a sharp-eyed bartender who studies him like she already knows his secrets. She asks him why he's really here, and for the first time, he tells the truth. He used to be a respected sheriff, good county, good marriage, a stable life, until a teenage girl accused her father, a man Ulysses personally knew, of abusing her, and Ulysses didn't believe her. Later he arrived at their home after hearing gunshots. The father was wounded. The girl stood there holding the gun. Her father cursed her. Ulysses ordered her to drop the weapon. She refused. She shot him dead, then turned the gun on Ulysses. They both fired. His aim was better. He killed her. A girl failed by every adult who should have protected her, including him. That moment shattered him. And ever since, he's been drifting through life, avoiding real choices. Moira listens without judgment. And somehow, that feels even more unsettling. The very next morning, chaos erupts. A desperate couple, Lori and Keith, attempt to rob the local bank. The plan is simple. The execution is a disaster. The vault contains barely $2,000 because, as the manager casually points out, nobody uses cash anymore. Then one employee suddenly suffers a heart attack mid-robbery. The robbers panic. They argue over whether to continue the heist or perform CPR, and then the vault opens. Inside is something no small-town bank should ever contain: stacks of gold, military-grade weapons, crates of cash worth tens of millions. Their tiny robbery just uncovered something massive. Ulysses enters to negotiate peacefully. But before he can speak, his own deputies open fire on him. Not the robbers. Him. Deputy Mike and Deputy Blaine have turned on their sheriff. The bank erupts into gunfire. Bullets fly. Bodies drop. A Yakuza operative working as bank security joins the fight. Lori accidentally shoots Keith. Keith gets stabbed. Everything descends into madness. When the smoke clears, the survivors are somehow standing together: Ulysses, Lori, a badly wounded Keith, and Ulysses makes a decision. They shot at me, he says. You didn't, so I guess we're a team now. A sheriff, 2 bank robbers, against an entire town. When Ulysses confronts Mayor Kibner, the kindly old man finally drops the mask. He explains that small-town America is dying, businesses collapsing, main streets disappearing. Normal was no different. Until the Yakuza arrived with an offer: use the town as a hidden vault for laundering illicit profits. The town keeps a cut, everyone prospers, and they all agreed, except those who didn't. The negative Nancys, the people who objected, the people who disappeared, including Sheriff Gunderson. He wanted out, so the town eliminated him. Then comes the darkest revelation of all. Moira corners Ulysses and exposes his lie. The girl from his past, she never killed her father. Ulysses did. He shot the abuser himself, and ever since, he's been drowning in guilt, unsure whether he delivered justice or became a murderer. Then Moira reveals her own truth. She murdered Sheriff Gunderson, got him drunk, walked him outside into the freezing night in only his underwear, and watched him slowly freeze to death. Before she can kill Ulysses too, Alex arrives and shoots her dead. Standing over Moira's body, Ulysses finally makes a choice. He pins a deputy badge onto Alex. Then comes his insane final plan. Using all that unused C4 from the armory, Alex rigs the bank vault. Every brick is planted directly beside the Yakuza's hidden fortune. If Ulysses dies, everything explodes. That's their leverage. When the Yakuza boss, Oyabun, arrives with his convoy, the town scrambles to fake normalcy. Bodies are hidden. Blood is buried beneath fresh snow. Deputy Blaine introduces Oyabun as Pastor Oyabun, a Protestant minister. Ulysses somehow keeps the lie alive, until he accidentally invites the entire Yakuza delegation to dinner. At Ernie's diner, Oyabun takes one bite of the meatloaf and sincerely declares it divine. For a moment, it almost works. Then Blaine ruins everything. Trying to impress everyone, he gives a drunken toast and openly exposes the entire criminal arrangement. The illusion shatters, and normal erupts into war. Gunfire tears through the streets. Explosions light up the snow. The quiet little town becomes a battlefield. Deputy Mike sacrifices himself to save others, dying a genuine hero. Lori, Keith, and Olive escape on the town's snowplow. Ulysses lets them go, giving them a single gold brick and one instruction: build something good with it. As for him, he stays. He faces the Yakuza, faces the town, and finally stops running from who he is. His deal works. The vault remains intact. The Yakuza accept the terms, and by morning, everything is quietly covered up. Officially, it was just a car accident, a storm, a bad night. Later, Ulysses is in Texas, driving toward another temporary assignment, this time with Alex riding beside him. He leaves one more voicemail for his wife, Penny.